Okay. So I am super, super pumped. I love our team calls, especially when we bring a guest on, because it's always better sometimes to hear from other people. And I absolutely love this lady. I was able to get to connect with her on Brooke Hemingway's momentum, alignment, all the things that we do together with Brooke. And she is just a joy. She also does this company too. So if you've seen, see, look at that. If you love my sweater and all the swag, that's Plexus. And they're also doing a fundraiser for Hannah and her family right now. So hands down, go and check it out. Grab you a sweater. I absolutely love this company. And I am so pumped to invite her on so she can share her story and take it away, my friend.
Awesome. Hey guys, I almost wore that sweatshirt, Cassie. I was actually looking for mine and I pulled this one out and I was like, this is cool too. This says be kind.
It.
So,
Yes.
well, awesome. Thank you so much for having me on. Cassie is such an amazing leader, and you guys, I pray for your team, and Cynthia, I'm praying for you and your husband as well. But you guys are definitely an inspiration to me just in getting to know Cassie and what she shared about her team with me. But I'm really excited. So my name is Gianina, for those of you guys that don't know me. And I am an Emerald Ambassador with Plexus. I've been with the company for 6.5 years, which is crazy to think about because I'm one of those that loves change and could never imagine being with the same company for 10 years. And now I'm like, oh, yeah, we're going to go way past the 10-year mark, you know? Like when people used to say they've been with their careers for 10 years, I'd just be like, how are you that happy where you work? I don't understand. So I am a Plexus lifer. They're going to have to kick me out before they will get rid of me. I'm really excited to share my story with you guys. So like I said, I started with the company 6.5 years ago. And when I first started, I actually had just given birth to my son. He was about 4 months old, and I was tired all the time. I was just getting off of unpaid maternity leave. So we were really struggling financially. And I thought that I was healthy. I thought I'm just going to eat healthy. I don't need supplements. I don't need to take any gut health products. I just need to exercise and eat healthier. So I did not join for the products. I joined specifically for the business because we were at a place, I was married at the time, and we were not just struggling, we were not making it without help. We were getting like our water shut off and we're having to go to food pantries. And I remember, so Donnelly Robinson, she's a diamond, she's my upline. And I remember calling her and she was like my go-to for all things natural. And I was like, hey, I don't have money for baby wipes right now. How can I make baby wipes at home with what I have? And she walked me through how to make baby wipes. And so we definitely were struggling. And I remember Googling like how to make money couponing, how to, and I was so like disheartened with that because it seemed like you had to have a bunch to invest in order to buy the stuff to stock it so you could sell it. So it was a lot that I had to invest. So then blogging, and I was like, maybe blogging will be a better option. And blogging again, it was like how to make $1,000. That's just like enough for my family. We needed to make a couple $100s a month in order to just survive and in order to make it. Because as a mom, you know, I was nursing at the time, but not being able to nourish my child with the things that he needed, I knew I had to make a change. And I knew that if nobody else is going to make this change for me, I had to do it for myself. So I joined for the business, and my first month I went silver. And I remember getting that paycheck and just being like, oh my gosh, like I can do this. This is amazing. I can help my family. I can pay our phone bill. I was sharing a phone with my husband at the time. We were sharing a car. We didn't have Wi-Fi. Like, so if anybody gives you excuses for why they can't do this business, you can use me as an example because I didn't even have a cell phone. Okay. So I went silver and I was like, okay, we can totally make a difference for my family. Like, this is amazing. And I was sold. And then I started to feel better. And I was like, I didn't think I needed these products, but all of a sudden I'm not having headaches anymore. I'm sleeping better. My son is sleeping better. Everybody's happier because we're all sleeping better. And I started telling other people about the products even more. But even then, at that point, you guys, like I was heavily leading with the business because of what the business did for me. And so I was getting a lot of business builders that were joining my team. And we went Ruby my first year. And I was able to, at 11 months, quit my job because I was making more with Plexus than I was working full time. And so to go from not being able to pay my bills to being able to quit my job is just like insane to me. And then after that, that next year, I went through like some pretty traumatic things with my husband at the time. He got really bad into addiction and was going in and out of jail, in and out of rehab, stealing so that he could have money for drugs. And it was just a really toxic situation. My son was 2 at the time. And I remember specifically, he started calling me bad names. And that was when I was like, my 2-year-old shouldn't even know that stuff, let alone be calling me that. And that was when I knew I have to get out of this situation because it's only going to get worse from here. And my son doesn't need to be around this. Now, looking back on it, I realized how many times we were in dangerous situations that only God saved us from those things. But at that time, I didn't realize what was happening. So God definitely knew what I needed before I knew I was going to need it, because he made a way, like where I thought I only needed a couple $100s a month. He made a way for me to rank senior Ruby and to make a few $1,000s a month, to where I was able to leave that situation, continue to be a stay-at-home single mom. I never had to go back to work. I didn't have to put my kid in somebody else's care, which I know is so hard if any of you guys have to do that. But, we were already moving from state to state and house to house and leaving a family. And there were so many inconsistencies for him that I wanted to be able to provide something stable for him. So Plexus has allowed me to do that. And I know this wasn't a testimonial call, but the reason I wanted to share all of that with you guys is because I want you guys to see the power of what this business can do, and that there are people who are desperate for this business just as much as the products. And when you don't share about the business as much as you do about the products, you are doing a disservice to your friends and family that you don't know what their situation is. You don't know how this is going to help them. And you don't know if God is trying to use this door to open for them to bless their families. And because you're like, I don't want to come across salesy, you could really be blocking that blessing for somebody. So I wanted to share that with you guys and why I lead with the business. A lot of the times when my team comes to me and they're like, Gianina, I'm not attracting business builders. I don't know what's going on. All I have is wholesale customers on my team. The first thing I look at is what they're posting and asking them, are you reaching out to people specifically about the business? And 99% of the time, they're only posting about the products and they're only reaching out to people about the products. And you guys, I'm a believer in our products. I love our products, but I believe in our opportunity just as much as the products. And so when I see that people aren't putting it out there, I'm like, you're not going to magically have people come to you about the business, just like you're not magically going to have people come to you about the products, unless people know what you're doing and unless people know that it's available to them. So by posting about the business and by sharing about what you're doing in the business, you're showing people what is available to them and what they can accomplish as well. So if you're not getting business builders, chances are you're not putting the business out there as much as you need to be. So that's my first piece of advice, is to be sharing about the business and posting about the business as well, leading with that. Share boldly, you guys. Every single one of you guys has a story, whether you're making $50 a month or $5,000 a month. When a lot of times people look at me and they're like, oh, it's easy for you to share about the business because you're an Emerald ambassador, you're making X amount of money. Like, people are going to trust you because you've already arrived, And if anything, I feel like it's harder right now. I don't know if you can relate to this, Cassie, but it's like, I feel like people look at you and they're kind of like, yeah, right. Like that's not possible. Whereas, when you're making couple $100s a month, it's easier to pour that belief into somebody like, hey, you can make a couple $100s a month, than pour the belief into somebody, hey, you can make 6 figures, And when I joined, so funny story, the thing that made me decide to join was my upline she had posted about taking a trip to Costco. And I was like, man, I wish I could afford a Costco membership and I wish I could afford healthy groceries. And she had posted a picture about one of those like giant stuffed teddy bears that Costco has. And she posted about how she was able to buy it for her daughter. And my soul was just like crushed because I was like, man, I can't even afford healthy food for myself to be able to nurse my son. I wish that I could have the extra funds to buy a teddy bear just for the heck of it, not a birthday, not Christmas, just for the heck of it. And so I always tell my team, like, I joined because of a teddy bear, you guys. Like, it wasn't the thousands of dollars, it wasn't the Lexus, it wasn't the trip to Hawaii. Like, I joined because I wanted to be able to buy my son a teddy bear. And so I want you guys to think about that. If you're making $50 a month and you can afford to take your spouse out on a date night, there's somebody out there who's like, man, I wish I could afford to take my spouse out on a date night. I wish I could afford healthy groceries. I wish I could afford to just splurge on myself aimlessly and go get my nails done. So don't ever think that you don't have a financial story because you're not making thousands of dollars. And then, kind of along those lines, take people on a journey, because a lot of times people think that they have to wait until they make a certain amount of money before they're credible and before they can share about the business. But if you take people on that journey with you, you're showing them what's possible. You're showing them, like, from start point A to point B. Like, I've always been a really open book, and I know that's not everybody. I know not everyone's super vulnerable on social media, but I have people come to me because I'm relatable to what they're going through. And they've seen my journey from struggling to making $100 to making $500 to making a six-figure income. They've seen that whole process, not just from struggling to making a six-figure income. And that's going to make you a lot more relatable. And one way to make yourself relatable to that isn't just sharing your financial journey, but sharing your personal development journey, sharing what you're learning. Like, hey guys, I was terrified of public speaking since I was a kid, and now I got to go live in front of you guys, and I am overcoming my fears. This is how I learned how to do it. And people are going to start looking to you as a source for inspiration, as a source for growth, as a source for how to do things. You can share, like, I really struggle with time management. And so I can go on my social media and be like, hey guys, I finally learned how to manage my time better. This is what I'm learning. Wake up an hour earlier, get ready for the day. These are a couple of tips that have helped me. Follow me or comment below if you want some more tips like this, if this is helpful to you. And that you're not selling anything on those posts. You're not, offering a business. You're not doing any of those things, but you're making yourself a leader in this industry without them even realizing that you're making yourself a leader in their mind. But they're going to follow you for that content. And a lot of us get followed for the wellness side, which is amazing. But again, we want to have that balance of the wellness and the business side. And it took me a long time to figure that out because, I was really good at sharing about the products, and I was really good at sharing how much I was making and, the trips that we got to go on. But I wasn't very good at sharing the journey of personal growth that I was going on. And so now that I've done that, I've been able to attract a different type of client that wants personal growth and that wants community and that wants to better their lives, and not just people who want a quick fix for weight loss. So you start to attract different kinds of people depending on the content that you're putting out there. I heard a quote one time that said, if you try to talk to everybody, you're talking to nobody. Like, if you try to say everything, you're not saying anything. And that really hit me because I'm one of those people. I'm a blue personality. I love all the people. I love all the things. I want to be with everybody, and I want everyone to like me, and I want to love everyone. Okay. Yeah. So you can relate to that. But I've started to realize it's okay to have my ideal client. It's okay to have my ideal team member, and to specifically cater my posts to that person and my messages to that person. And the more that you do that, the more you're going to attract your tribe. And for time I was worried about, singling people out and not making people feel welcome. But the truth is, the more specific that you are to your audience, the more people are going to relate to you. It's okay to not have all the people be your people, okay? It's okay to not have everybody be your people. It's okay to say, this is the kind of person that I relate to. This is the kind of person that I want on my team, and to make your post directly to that person. I have a girl that is a sideline that shared, she even created a name for this person, a look for this person, where she shops, what kind of books she reads, what kind of TV shows she watches. She created a whole profile, and she's like, every post that I make, I am making it to this person. And she's been able to attract a lot of those like-minded people because of that. And I do think it's important to have diversity and to have different types of people on our team. But at the end of the day, the common thing is we want people who are going to lift one another up. We want people who are like, I don't care what career you have, what ethnic background you have, what religious background you have. If you want to grow and you want to lift people up and you want to better your life in some way, so cater towards those people. Share your journey. Okay, the next thing I'm going to share is something I love talking about. And I don't know how many people are like super religious on this chat, but this is just something that on this call, but this is something I'm passionate about as a Christian. Money is not a bad word. Okay. I grew up with money being not talked about. And when it was talked about, it was talked about in the wrong sense. And it became this like taboo subject where either the people who had money, they were just show offs and they weren't living for God because they were just making money instead of giving and all this stuff. Okay. So I had these like preconceived notions about money coming into this business. And even last year, ranking Emerald, I remember being like, is it selfish of me to want more? Like, is it selfish of me to want to go beyond Emerald? Because I clearly have more than I need, So is it selfish of me to want more for my life? And one thing that God really put on my heart was the money is out there. Like the resources are out there. Okay. You guys, our God is a rich God. Like he has all of the money, all of the resources in the world. So the resources are out there. It's up to us to get those resources in the right hands so that we can do the right things with it. And that's a big part of my why, is to be able to give back to churches and charities. And I was born in Romania, so starting an orphanage in Romania is something that's always been a big part of my why. And so when you guys think about money, I don't want you to think of it as a bad word and as something that's bad to have, just like, and you might even subconsciously think that and not even realize that you're thinking that. But the money is out there. And I feel like God's just like, I want to bless you with this. It's kind of like having a gift that you want to give your child. And like, no, I can't have that. Like, I'm not good enough for that, or that's not something that a kid like me should have. Imagine how you would feel as the giver and like, no, just take this. Like, I wanted to bless you with this. I want you to have this. I feel like a lot of times God feels that way with us, whether it's our like spiritual giftings or our physical giftings, so think about money in that way. Like, get your hand on it. You are the people who are going to change the world. All right. We don't need the rich getting richer that are not going to necessarily use it in the best ways. You guys, like, this is your money. The money that's out there is your money for you to use for your purpose. Okay. So get that money in your hands. All right. So last thing I'm going to say is, and I know I kind of shared this, but people need the opportunity just as much as they need the products. I would have never, ever in a million years joined for the products. My upline would have never joined for the products. Her upline would have never joined for the products. Like probably 6 levels up. We all joined specifically for the business. I had a girl who was an ambassador that I was friends with, and she was a senior Ruby ambassador at the time. And I remember looking at her page and being like, oh my gosh, like she's able to stay home with her daughter. I wish that was something I could do. I never reached out to her, you guys. I wanted what she had, and I never reached out to her because I was like, well, if she thinks I'd be good at this, she'd reach out to me. If she thinks that this was something I could do, she'd reach out to me. And so I never reached out to her, but I was sold. And so when Donna Lee came and talked to me about it, I was like, yeah, okay, cool, I'm down, you know. And I've had people actually come to me that I never reached out to that was like, thank you so much for sharing your story on social media. I've been watching your journey. I joined with this person because they talked to me about it, and I congratulate them and I'm excited, but I'm like, man, if I would have just talked to them, you know, they've been watching me. They were sold because of my story. So, but I do believe that people end up where they're supposed to be. But all of that to say, you just never know who's watching and is just like, man, I wish I could do what they're doing. So be bold in what you share. Don't be ashamed of this opportunity, because this opportunity has just as much to offer as our products. And, you know, whenever my team is scared to share about it, I honestly tell them, like, get over yourself, because it's not about you. It's about this person and what God wants to do in their lives. Okay. It's not about our insecurities. It's not about our thoughts about money. It's not about our fears. It's about what this opportunity can do for people. So that's really all that I had to share. And I hope you guys got some value from that and see the importance of sharing the business and how to share the business as well.
Oh, girl, so good. I loved just that twist. And a lot of people talk about, like, when you're posting, you really want to break it down to even the kind of person, like literally that person's name, like make a name for that person. Describe what this person looks like. Describe, you know, like you said, if you're looking for something, prayerful life or whatever, like get that person to the nitty gritty. Like for me, mine's a stay-at-home mama, because I know how hard that is, or a corporate mom. Like I'm in between on both of those, because I know the struggle of both, of wanting to be home, but then also in the corporate world thinking I couldn't be home because I could never be that stay-at-home mom. Like I just didn't think I would want to be around my kids that much. But then I realized as a stay-at-home mom, I do. And I'm so grateful for the value that I'm able to give my girls and provide for them that I would have never had before if God hadn't put this opportunity into my hands. I did not. So most of my team is opposite. A lot of my team did not start for the business. I was one of them. And I know several above me were the same, which is crazy that you have a complete opposite. But I love the because of how people were posting was why you have that on your team. And I think that that's another thing that we can take away is that, okay, if we really truly want people to take these products, which hands down are phenomenal, I wouldn't have my health story without it, then we're going to get, and, you know, people that reach out to us for that health testimony, but also making sure that on top of that, we're reaching out about the business opportunity too, because we never know, like you said, that person might want that teddy bear from Costco to be able to give to their kids, or they might, there was somebody else, Sarah had talked to us a while back, and she had told us that she saw that somebody could decorate her porch, and she had always wanted to decorate her porch. And that's what she was following, is like, how can that girl have that extra income just to go to the store and be like, oh, I'm going to decorate for the holidays. She said, I couldn't even afford to have that little bit of an extra to do that, which I know I've been there. Hands down, we were negative almost every paycheck. This is why I worked a sign business. I also freelanced and I worked a corporate job, because we were struggling as new parents and all the things. And I think a lot of us get scared to bring up the business part, when really, like you said, it's an opportunity that God has given us and a purpose in our hands that we are not utilizing to his purpose. Like, that was the one thing I wrote down. The money is not a bad thing. We're using it for his purpose, using our gifts to glorify him with the money he has given us and provided for us. Um, I would love to hear anybody else's takeaways that they got, from what she had said, or what like stood out really quick
Be
that you're
good
like,
getting you
I'm
home.
doing this. Go ahead, Hannah.
I guess I'll go. You said, I never really thought about it. You were saying you were thinking that if the person thought you would be good at the business, she would reach out to you.
Mhm.
And that would have never crossed my mind in a million years. That's just not how I'm wired. And I'm like, that's brilliant. That's something that's like really, really important to be able to hear from. I appreciate you coming on and sharing, and then sharing that. That was like the thing that came across pretty strong to me, because I'm the type of personality, I guess, I really don't know, I guess I would reach out and say, hey, can you tell me what you're doing? Or
Mhm.
maybe just through this business, I assume that's the type of people, because I didn't want the business. I was afraid of the business sort of thing. But I just appreciate that aspect very much. But on a different note, thank you so much. I'll talk to you later, but thank you so much. I wanted to touch. I can't believe it's you, and I cannot wait to talk about this. So thank you. But keeping the direction going on, that's great hindsight or great information to. And like you said, if we want the business, I've heard it before a lot about if you want a business builder, post to that.
Mhm.
But I think I missed the connection of, people would not reach out. They're waiting on you to reach out. So that kind of just made it full circle for me. So thank you.
I think especially about the business, because with the products, I think people would reach out more because they're like, oh, I need these products to change my health. But with the business, people think that with this type of business, there's such a specific type of person that's good at it or that's successful with it. Whereas with the products, really anybody can be successful with it if they're consistent, right? But with the business, I think there's just a lot of misconceptions about like, well, you have to look like this and you have to act like this and you have to have this amount of friends. And so I think people are just scared to reach out in that aspect. And like, I'm a really bold, confident person. Like I'm that's one of my giftings, I would say. So I feel like if I feel that way, there's probably a lot of people who feel that way.
And this week in Momentum Makers, Emily shared about that as well. And Cassie, you may have heard it, where she said, don't judge anybody. She said, somebody that I judge that I never, ever would have reached out to and never would have said, I want that person on my team. They'll be great on my team. She said, started running in the business and she's a jewel under her now. And she said, never would have said, oh, she'll be a diamond.
Yeah, you just never, ever know. And then the people that I've thought were like my dream teamers that are just going to rock it, they don't show up. Like, they have the hugest network and all the potential, but they just don't show up. So you just never know.
Agree. But I think the biggest thing that you said was being raw and real about your journey in this, because one, my very first video that I ever had to do, and several people know this, but not everybody, I legit cried when I had to hit post because I was terrified of what people would think of me. And this was inside of a private group inside my own page, y'all. This wasn't even on Facebook. I was afraid of what my team would think of me and how they would react with what information I was giving them, if it was right, all the things. And now it's like, psh, I don't care if I say the wrong word. But it's just like you said, the journey and posting about that, I think that that's huge. And and the things that we can say, like I just took a picture of like, hey, I'm in my basement right now in like comfy clothes, and I could like, this is how I work. And showing that aspect, I think, is another thing that could be what other people are looking for, and showing that journey of like, y'all, I didn't start this way. Like it just happened to evolve and I got better over time and I did things and I learned and I listened to podcasts. And hey, like I really like your idea when you had said, this is what I'm trying to do to get better with my time management. Are these tips helpful? I wrote those down because you don't think about those things like, oh, I'm going to wake up 30 minutes early and start my devotions and really try to get better of that. Or I'm going to XYZ. People love, we all go to Instagram to follow somebody, right? We want to hear their tips. And so it's kind of the exact same way of like, what tips can you bring that you might not even think about to your audience? So I loved that.
Yeah. Doing this for a while, I think sometimes we forget, just like you said, Cassie, like your first post, your first video, I struggled with that for a long time with my team. Like I said, I've always been a confident person, but I struggled with making sure my team loved me. Everybody liked me. I did everything right. And I was this like picture perfect leader for them. And when that happens, guess what, you guys? They feel like they can't ever do what you're doing because you're this picture perfect person. And so showing people the journey that you're going on is going to make them feel like I could do that too. Whereas if they only see the perfect and polished, put together you, they're not going to feel like that's ever attainable for them. If they only see even like a perfectly clean house behind you, like I'm never going to be able to do videos because my house never looks like that, so even being realistic, like, okay, I'm in a corner of my house that is clean right now and I'm wearing pajama pants, like, I mean, it's just being real with people. They want that, and I struggle with that, to be honest. Like, I don't consider myself a fake person, but I always try to put my best foot forward. And I forget that sometimes in doing that, I make myself unrelatable to people. So learn from my mistake, and and don't be like a Debbie Downer and like air all your dirty laundry out, but just give people permission to be flawed around you. Let me see what that said.
Perfectionism.
Yes, second.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah, for
girl.
sure.
I think the other thing is people don't realize what this looks like unless you're in it. We all know how that is. You don't realize what the store looks like until you walk in for the first time. And, opening up those doors so that people can understand this business and this opportunity, and you sharing those kinds of things like, hey, look, these are the team calls where I get prayed over, I get, poured into, things like that. They're going to follow that, like, wow, Hannah's on some really good calls. It looks like they have a great community and a great great people that show up. And then like if you're showing, other things like those kind of things, I think that really open up what network marketing sometimes doesn't get acknowledged for enough. So
Very true.
anybody else? Just like right now, the other thing about like my daughter just ran downstairs. So I was like, oh, I gotta mute myself. You can get some paper. Yeah.
So another tip, another thing that I did in the past, I haven't done this in a while, but another thing that's really great for attracting business builders is, and you guys can do this together. I hosted a book club. It was on what to say when you talk to yourself, and I opened it to anybody. So not just people on my team, but I opened it up to all of my friends. And I was just like, okay, who struggles with their mindset? Who struggles with their self-talk? Like, let's hop on this call. I created a group. Everybody was a part of the group, and we had Zoom calls once a week. But then the people who couldn't attend the Zoom calls participated in like the conversations in the group. And that was really great because that really helps people see you again as that authority figure and as that leader naturally. And so they're like, this is somebody that I can relate to. This is somebody I can open up to. This is someone I can talk to. And guess what? You're coaching them in network marketing before they even join. You're coaching them on their mindset or on, whatever the book club that you decide to do. Like, you're already coaching them on the things you want them to learn when they join you, and they're seeing you as that leader figure. So that was another thing I did that was really cool, which I actually got. What was that new John Maxwell book? I just bought it and I was going to do one on that too. I don't even remember.
Girl, he's got so many good ones and new ones that I can't keep up with.
Posted it. Born to Lead, maybe something like that.
Okay, I can look it up. I can look it up later and tell the team too.
Yeah.
But Sarah had said Brene Brown, and she's another great one. But I love that we're inviting, because again, we've invited people to challenges and things like that. But again, that's product based. That's not mindset based. That's not thinking outside the box. And I really, really like that idea.
And they'll do it with your team to where they're doing personal growth, but you're just inviting other people to get on that journey with you.
Yeah. And I've seen people doing with fasting and other things where people really just want one, accountability, and they want community. That's the biggest things that people want. So what can you provide that bring those two aspects, or even one aspect that leads into the other?
Yeah.
So anybody else have anything?
Let me see if I can find that book.
Yeah.
It's called Change Your World. Definitely not Born to Lead. Change Your World.
Okay.
So I feel like that's even more relatable to a bigger audience of people. It's basically, I remember reading like the introduction, and it's basically about anybody who wants to make a difference in their world can be a part of that. So
Yeah.
that'd be a good one to be part of too.
Love it. So oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, because it's good. Mine's going to be kind of at the end, what I want to say. So go ahead.
Okay. So for somebody brand new, haven't even got their products, but they're curious about the business or opportunity or anything like that, what advice would you have for them of what this possibility could look like? Because we might have somebody brand new watching this months from now or whatever, where they're like, wow, that girl what's Ruby? Or what does that money even look like? Or how did she do that? And things like that. So
Yeah. So I think the biggest thing is taking it one step at a time and one goal at a time, and not trying to learn all of the things. You guys, I didn't know anything when I was enrolling people. I knew what the triplex was, and I knew how much it cost, and that really was it. And I knew how it made me feel. One of my girls actually has been a rock star this month, and she enrolled a brand new ambassador January 30th that has now added like 17 people. And so I reached out to her and I'm like, what are you guys doing? What is she doing? And she's like, honestly, I just focus with my team on what is it that you're taking? What is it that you're feeling? Who do you know that could use the exact same benefits that you're taking with the exact same products that you have? And I think that that's what helped me be so successful. My first year is I literally just sold everybody triplex because that was what I was taking. I knew what it made me feel, how it made me feel, and I could sell it because I knew that one product combo. I knew how much it cost. I knew what was in it. I knew how it made me feel. I knew what benefits it had. So focus on one thing. And I mean, whatever it is that you took Plexus for and that's helping you, there are hundreds and thousands of people out there that need the same thing. And so focus on your results and your benefits. Now, you haven't even gotten your welcome kit and you're like, what do I do? Focus on why you did this. Why did you join it? Do you want more energy? Get people who want more energy, get them to order the same exact combo pack that you did. And another thing that my girl said that I really loved is she really believes in, and I'm going to start utilizing this too, but she really believes you can get to silver without posting. Like, you don't even have to make a post before you get to silver. You just have to reach out to your best friend, your mom, your cousin, your aunt, the people closest to you. Those are going to be your people. And then you can start thinking about the posting and learning other things and all that stuff. But really, earn as you learn. I still 6.5 years Emerald Ambassador have to go to the website and look up pricing sometimes and look up what's in a product. You guys, that's not my strong point. I don't retain that information. And there's no shame in that, because guess what? That shows other people that when they join, they don't have to know all those things. They can use the website and Google and look stuff up. Okay. So don't feel like you have to be an expert and know everything. Share your journey, and your journey may be, hey, I just ordered these products and I'm excited what they're going to do for me. Share where you're at in that moment, and get your closest people on board, and don't be afraid of sharing, because people, again, need the products and need the opportunity.
amen. Hannah, what were you going to say? Unless somebody else had something really quick.
I was going to say, we're all like, oh, this is awesome. This is great. But sometimes, speaking for myself, I'm like in the moment of this is awesome. This is great. Then I have to call, go to bed, and then life happens, right? Life is going to happen after this call when we get off. What are we going to do about this information? And so I just felt to challenge you all, challenge myself. Let's take this information and sit on it, no matter what comes at us tomorrow or what comes at us in the next hour. We all know life is short. Mm-hmm. So everything can come at us, but we don't have to let it stop us. So I appreciate you sharing that. And I just felt a challenge in my heart personally like, okay, don't just sit on this. Go with this momentum and keep going. So I appreciate you.
Yes, you are so welcome. And I'm so glad that you guys got something out of it. Because, like Cassie said, her downline and her upline is full of people who join for the products. Mine is people who join for the business. And it's because this is what I relate to. So this is what I share. And this is what Cassie relates to. And this is what she shares. But it's good to open your eyes to the fact that there's other things that you can share about, and other ways that people perceive this, because I truly think that some people don't know that they should be leading with the business sometimes, because that's just not what they've experienced or what they joined for. But there's people like me out there who need it, you guys. So just pray about it. I always pray like that God would lead me to the people who need the products and the people who need the business. And I pray that their hearts would be ready to receive what I'm going to talk to them about. And that has really transformed my business too.
Yeah, I think that's what's wonderful about our team is we are a very prayerful team. And I think that's what I love about our chats too, is we're always like, okay, how can we pray for you? Every Sunday we do a how can we pray for you post, because like Hannah says, life happens and things happen, but we wouldn't have that community if we weren't there for each other. And so I think that that is powerful in that sense, and showing people that like, hey, on our team, we pray for each other. We lift each other up. We do all these things that, anyway, all the good things. But I want to just thank you again for coming on. I absolutely love bringing other people every single month to kind of share different things, because we always learn something awesome from somebody else. And sometimes it might not, I learned from this call, and y'all, I've been doing this for 5 years now. And so you're always going to learn. You just have to have an open mind to keep learning and keep growing. It's the only way you're going to have anything in life, have that step forward and move in your business, move in anything. Oh my gosh, my dings. So sorry. They're like, ding, 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 ding. But I am just grateful for that. And I'm sorry about the dings, but I cannot wait to just celebrate everybody's journey this month. We have awesome opportunities. If you guys stick around for a minute, I will update you on all the things that we have. So you are taking, like Hannah said, right now, right after this call, and you have a plan for what you're going to do tonight, tomorrow, and the rest of this week, moving forward with the tips that you learned tonight. So thank you guys so much for coming. I'm going to stop the recording really quick.